In my last video, I basically talked about how I was at the lowest point in my life. That was yesterday, right? And so we trying to progress, we trying to move forward. And so I'm making this video today to update you on what I'm doing to move forward, because potentially you also might be in a low place and you also want to improve, you want to get better. So I'm showing you that it's a step-by-step process. It's not every day, because sometimes you look at somebody and it looks like the way that their life changed, it changed overnight. So I'm documenting my progress just to show you guys that it doesn't happen overnight. I'm in the process of trying to improve my health, my emotional health, physical health, psychological health. But since yesterday, I've been thinking of God. I've been thinking about God, and in a sense that He is the true essence of who I am. That if I want to be rooted in who I am, I need to be rooted deeply in who He is, because I find myself in Him since I come from Him. And that's probably the same with you too, since if you're human and you come from God, probably if you get to God, then you'll start to find in alignment with who you supposed to be and who you are. So I went back to doing this morning routine that I have that is basically meant for optimum performance, optimal peak, you know, to end up to literally after the morning routine, you're in a place where you can literally conquer. So this is what the morning routine looks like. Well, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I meditate, I write down what I'm grateful for, I read my Bible, and I pray. Boom. That's the morning routine. Done and dusted. Very simple, very easy to repeat kind of morning routine, but it sets you up for success because it literally gets your mind right. So today, in me performing this morning routine, I stumbled upon this scripture that I want to share with you guys. Not necessarily as a preacher, but just like, it made me think. Matthew chapter 6. Matthew chapter 6, man, and I learned a lot from that. And I encourage you to go to it, because I'm not going to literally explain the whole chapter to you guys today. That's not my job. That's not what I'm for. That's not what I'm here for. But I want you guys, like, what I wanna tell you what I learned from it and how it helped me. It's crazy because I kind of randomly thought about this scripture, and then I opened it today. And then as I'm reading it, it kind of relates to everything that I was going through yesterday. In what I was talking about yesterday, it kind of helps me get better, and like it kind of gives me a way forward. And I learned, to take life one day at a time. A lot of times, especially when I was in the place that I was coming from yesterday, when I was talking about how I'm at the lowest point, obviously I looked at my past and saw all of the past, actions that I've done leading up to this point. But then I also look forward and I'm like, damn, in order for me to get to the place that I want to be, it's a huge mountain to climb, you know. By reading Matthew chapter 6 today, I learned, man, just take it one day at a time. Conquer today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will deal with itself. There's a lot to deal with tomorrow that I'll see when I get there. Heck, I could die today. Why am I worried about tomorrow? You know what I mean? So it's like take it one day at a time. And that's literally where trust comes in, you know? Because what I was also learning in that scripture was that you need to take things one day at a time. Don't worry about tomorrow, because God, whom you believe in, is going to take care of you. He literally takes care of the birds, and he takes care of animals. And if you're a human, you're probably more important than animals as well. So God will take care of you. And that's where the trust component comes in, because it's like, don't worry about tomorrow. But that means I have to trust God. You know what I mean? Trust God that my tomorrow is like solid. But like sometimes that's kind of tough. I understand. And that's the adjustment I had to make, right? Going from yesterday to today, that's the major shift that I really made. I'm starting to trust God more. Not saying that I trust him completely. I still have my faults. I still have places where I'm uncertain. I still have areas where I'm questioning God even. But just to take it one step further, be going one step. So I'm gonna trust him, saying, you know what, today I'm gonna trust God that no matter what happens today, I'll be good. All my needs will be taken care of. Trusting God was the one thing. I think the other thing in Matthew chapter 6 was praying, and how it is so important to pray. And I speak about introspection a lot in my videos and stuff, and how you can learn more about yourself through introspection. Dude, literally, prayer is so important, because not only is it a way for you to look within and find more aspects of yourself that you don't know, or find new things about yourself that you don't know, but it's also literally a way for you to begin to trust in God, to practice putting your trust in God. Because when you pray, you kind of have this idea that God is real, and you put in your trust and belief in the existence of somebody or something higher than you, and you're reaching out. You're trusting that if you reach out, you might get a response. And so prayer is like a practical application of how to trust God. Now, I'm not a pastor, bro. I'm not somebody who's well knowledge. Actually, I am kind of well known, but I'm not too practically like, I'm not too practically amazing at applying this stuff, the God things, the God stuff. And sometimes it gets a bit demoralizing because I don't really see the journey, I don't see the growth. So that's also why I'm low-key telling you guys that I'm thinking of God, because it's also a way to document the progress, the journey, to see if there's actually any growth or progress. But praying and trusting God, and I realized there's also something else, man. There's also something else that I learned in that in today's reading, bro. And that's something that, like, I knew, but I knew it, but I didn't really like know it like this. Like, it didn't really click like this. And that's just how your relationship with God has to be something that's like not really seen by men. Your relationship with God, your walk with God isn't really something that's out there. I was reading, Jesus was talking about how when somebody prays, they have to, like, pray, in secret. Or when somebody gives, they have to give in secret. When somebody's fasting, they have to fast in secret. And it's like, even though it looks what today looks like, it looks like people's relationships with God are just out there. Oh, I love God, I depend on God, I do this with God. And now we can see, oh, you with God, you like this with God. But really, it actually isn't actually like that. You gotta be so close to God to a point where your intimacy with God, your relationship with God, you don't even care if people know about it or not. And you would actually prefer people don't know about it, which is crazy. Listen, this YouTube channel is not gonna be me talking about God and stuff, but this is just part of the life update. I believe in God, and so God is a part of my life, and so I'm gonna just keep on. I'll talk about God if I'm gonna talk about my life, but necessarily when I give advice and things of that nature, I'm not going to be talking too much about God and really like Christianity and relationship with Christ. Even though that's good, and I encourage you guys to go out and do that. That's not what my channel is gonna be based off of. I'm just letting you guys know this is what I'm learning, bro, and you know depending on God, bro. Just trusting God, and like relationship with God gotta be intimate, gotta be secretive. Low key. Not that I'm trying to hide from people, but like I'm not trying to openly show people that, yo, I believe in God, I'm trying to walk with God, I'm trying to do this with God, and hey. You feel me? But it's just intimate, it's secretive. It's like keep it to yourself. And that's part of my life update. I'm thinking of God, and I'm been realizing, damn, I gotta be more like intimate, secretive, not really secretive, but like closed off, and keep my relationship with God between me and God. Maybe if somebody asks, and somebody has to know something, yeah, sure, I'll tell you. But it's like me and God have to be like close. Like for example, you and your best friend, right? You and your best friend, you don't go around telling people that you're best friends with this person, even though they might ask, then you'll tell them like, yeah, he's my best friend, or she's my best friend. But you won't go around being like, oh, me and this person are like this. It's just the same with God. Like, why do we go around talking about God as if we day ones with God? You know what I mean? Like, hey man, but hey, walk your walk the way you're supposed to walk it, the way that you think is right to walk it. But doing things to be seen by men, walking with God so that people can see that you walk with God, following God so that people can see that you're following God, praising God so that people can see it. That's not the true essence. That's not the true nature of this relationship with God that you're supposed to have. And that's something I'm learning. And yeah, man, that's just a life update, man. Yeah, I don't know. I like the life update thing because like I said, it creates some sort of transparency. It creates some sort of openness. You guys get to see me for who I am. So I'm gonna just put that in a separate playlist. All the life updates. But the main foundation, the main things of the channel advice, the tips, the tricks. That's gonna be its own thing. Check out my next video on dopamine detoxing, because that's one of the next tips, one of the next lessons that I've been learning recently. And be sure to check that. Be sure to like and subscribe too, to stay tuned to literally, you know, to keep up with the content, to keep up with the lessons. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, check out my dopamine detox lesson. It's probably gonna help you, especially if you're also trying to work with God and things of that nature, man. But I'm gonna see you in the next one.